as usual, and all the persons were there, all the legacy partners were there, all decked out, and they did a wonderful job. We want to thank them for the legacy partners. But we believe that we could, if we had extended this to the other parts of the diaspora, it would have been far more effective if we included the diaspora, and we didn't necessarily have to have this conference in Jamaica alone, because it's Jamaica and the diaspora. Okay, so we want inclusion, we want prosperity, and we want peace, right, in our country. We in the diaspora, let me make it clear, as we come on this platform today, we are not saying we represent everyone in the diaspora. That is not so. What we represent is a cohort in the diaspora who believes that we need to make changes to fulfill our goals going forward. And we need to be recognized, and that does not mean necessarily voting, but recognize that we do have talents that we could utilize in our country so that our country can be better off, and the majority of our people can be better off. When we look around, that is not the case. You know, there's a lot of things that are going good with Jamaica, but there's many things that are not going good. And we would like to look at the conference, examine the conference that is going on in Jamaica, and through our eyes, we want to share with you our thoughts on what is going on and how possibly could make some improvements. So we are with you. We're with you. And we want to thank the legacy partners. And the legacy partners, VMBS, Grace Kennedy, and Jamaica National. They have been there. And I saw the delivery of Mr. Courtney Campbell, wonderful. And we noted his 10 points that he made. But we also would like to be part of the equation. You see, we invest money in Jamaica, but we could do something that we could do with some investment here in the diaspora for businesses that are, you know, that can go places. And that is what we're looking for. Collaboration, cooperation, communication. And we're not asking you for anything more than to work with you. And this business of divide and rule must stop. We are bona fide people in Jamaica. And some people would say our navel string cut right in Jamaica. We are Jamaicans born and bred. So do not try. I don't want anyone to see this as an affront to the government. It could be any government that we're speaking about right now. What we want to understand is that we are ready, we are able to support whatever is happening in Jamaica now and for the foreseeable future. I think we should be taken seriously, and we do not spread the news that we are bad fruit. We're not. We are fruits of Jamaica, and we want you to understand how important that is. We are indeed fruits of Jamaica, and we look forward to everything that is happening in our country, and we support it 100%. So without further ado, I'm going to go to the rest of the agenda, because I don't want you to think I am talking you out. The rest of the agenda. And
one moment for me, Dr. Francis.
Yes.
We want to come to Miss Michelle Brown, Esquire, because I think she has to go.
I know, yes. That's what I was going to say, yes. Okay.
Okay, Miss Michelle, go ahead, ma'am, please, Miss Brown.
Well, good morning, everybody, and thanks for this opportunity and privilege to be a part of
Michelle Boyne.
Oh, Boyne, sorry. That was Brown, sorry.
That's all right. It won't be the first time, and it won't be the last that somebody made that error. So I am very excited.
Can't hear you, Michelle. You might be muted.
No, we're hearing her. We're hearing her.
Yeah.
Herb, turn up your volume, Herb.
Oh, it's max.
Okay. I don't know what's going on, but that's the nature of technology. By the way, there was just a 4.7 on the Richter scale earthquake in the New York City area, and that's where I am in my car. So maybe that has something to do with why you can't hear me properly.
No, we're hearing you loud and clear. I think
I got you. We got you now. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I am very happy to be a part of this group today because I believe the time has come for a group like this to come together to speak on behalf of the diaspora in our own right and for our benefit and the benefit of the people of Jamaica. I'm reminded that in 1936, a similar group emerged in the Bronx, New York, the Jamaica Progressive League, and that is where the seeds of the nation were planted. The concept of self-determination came out of that group and further led to the beginning and the initiation of the first political party in Jamaica. So the diaspora has always been a part of an integral part of the life of Jamaica, whether we live there or not. We have maintained our connection and our relevance and our support for the people of Jamaica. And we would love to partner with leaders in Jamaica, government and non-governmental leaders, to see what we can do to benefit the nation as a whole. So, as somebody mentioned, I think it was you, Mr. Tavares, that I have to go. But I just wanted to say brief greetings. Thank you for inviting me, and God bless you in your endeavors today. And I am a part of this. I am a founding member of the Crime Intervention and Prevention Task Force. So I've been walking this journey um, with Dr. Francis and the group for quite a while, and will continue to do so. All right, I will check in later, but right now I have a meeting to go to. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Ms. Michelle Boyne. Thank you for coming on. Dr. Francis?
Okay.
Yes. Are you hearing me?
Yes, sir, we're hearing you.
Okay, good. Thank you very much, Michelle. I appreciate it. Looking great as usual. All right.
Thank you.
Okay. All the best. Take care. Have a wonderful day and keep on listening and have people listening. So what Michelle just did, she confirmed that we are not here to stop, destroy, meddle with, whatever names you want to. We are here to work with any Jamaican government. And we want to work with respect, right? And we want to collaborate. I want to be able to communicate effectively. So we don't want anyone to think that we are bad-minding them or we are trying to mess up brand Jamaica. The three men, as I said before, Courtney Campbell spoke eloquently yesterday. And many of us here would be investing in his business in Jamaica. Grace Kennedy, we can't get away from Grace Kennedy. We send our remittances, right? And we also eat the Grace products. Thank you, Mr. Senator, for doing that. And last but not least, Jamaican National. They're all over. They're in London, they're in Canada, here in the United States. How can we forget the Earl Jarrett who assisted us in putting on the Diaspora Conference in 2018 in Mara, Georgia? We respect that. And there are other companies too, Rapid Sheffield, others that have helped in the past, many, but I won't go through the names. So ladies and gentlemen, we in the diaspora want to be able to do the same. And we do not believe that we are one seat pony. We can go to several places in the world and do the diaspora. And it would be of benefit. More people come, more young people would want to be involved in the whole process. And it's on this basis that we decided to start the first conference in the diaspora. And we do believe that we can work together. If it is not, you believe also the powers that be also believes that they should work with us. I beg you, please, do all those persons who would like to run around and say that, and divide and rule, please stop them, because it is not right. I am not being forced by anyone to do what I'm doing. I am doing it for the love, and everyone on this platform, for the love of our country, the real love that everybody has inalienable rights especially our children will be the future, and that we can reduce crime and violence, and we can give them a better education, better um, subsistence in the homes, for the homes, create better jobs, more meaningful jobs. They don't have to chop, they don't have to kill to be able to survive. We know it's happening and we need to stop it, and we can stop it. And anyone who says you can't, it's not true. We just need to decide what we want to do as a country, and we'll do it together. All of us here are willing to assist you in this whole process. Without further ado, let me not hold on to the stage because we have some more important people here who want to share their views. Yes. And a question.
Yes, Dr. Francis. I was told that you should switch over to Mr. Nelson.
Okay. Okay.
And Mr. Rattigan and Lion will remain after. But Mr. Nelson, then we can go to Doc after.
Okay. Well, I know that Mr. Nelson and I are very close in age, age before beauty, right, brother? Well, I must tell you this story.
Speak for yourself, Doc, please.
Listen, we don't want everybody to know what it is here. But the point is that one of the things I want to remember this, gentleman, we started the Jamaica Diaspora Crime Intervention and Prevention, as Michelle said, many years ago, and he was there front and center. And we were approved by the Jamaican government. We have the letters to show it. We are not, bogus. We have it, and we got permission from the embassy of the United States and the current ambassador. So we have it. Okay? So I want you to understand this gentleman has a lot of knowledge. We work together. We went to Jamaica. We have done a number of things in Jamaica. Yes, we are not known because, we don't believe in showing off. Without further ado, brother Herb Nelson, please take the stage.
Yes, thank you, Doc, and thanks to fellow panel members and the audience. Now, I wish I could dial us back to 2016 when we all were fired up, highly motivated, and we went home to let the people at home know, hey, there are certain things on the horizon that are occurring. It wasn't just occurring in Jamaica. We saw an upheaval across Latin America and the Caribbean. The region itself is one of the smallest in the world, yet still they have the highest numbers of violent characters. The people who are inherently trying to raise themselves up out of their underserved communities and to make good. We saw the advent of Dons and a host of other people that came through after the government went in, took out the Don of all Dons, Dudus, and scattered the spoils all over Jamaica. There was never a proper planning as to how to control these Dons and these gangs that numbered over 200. We thought we had given them the formula in 2016, and then we see them trying the formula now with Project Star in 2023 and 24. Folks, we are professionals in the area of intelligence and law enforcement. It has been a very sad commentary on the government that has lost control over law enforcement, over the prosecution of those in high places who believe that they are above the law. And this is what the people of Jamaica who are suffering, people of Jamaica in the millions who cannot afford a edible and nourishing meal before bedtime every evening. I just came back from Jamaica. I spent almost a month there, and I was happy to see the local elections go down without any major problems. I will give that to the government. That was a good deed. But we still have people being killed on a daily basis. We still have a lot of retribution being carried out in various neighborhoods. And without having a proper CI system on the ground, we're unable to do any predictive analysis or of when these murders will occur. Our experiences here in the US has taught us that predictive analysis will always show that once a gang member has been hit, that means killed or seriously injured, that there will be retribution and you can prepare for it. As a matter of fact, every neighborhood in the United States is mapped out. Just like every neighborhood in Israel, and they love to use the Israelis. You should learn a lot from them because they can map out the neighborhood, which means you know every family on every block, to include the house guests and everybody else who's staying there. We can no longer make excuses about rights and everything else that is so concerning to people who don't respect the rights of the country. Those people who bend the law to their satisfaction. We can no longer accept ineptitude and this corruption that has besieged the country for so long. And the people appointed to be effective prosecutors of the law, the Attorney General, who seems to be a ghost, and the DPP, who carries out her duties with less zeal and seem to be covering the backsides of government officials. You cannot carry on this way any longer. I did not hear the conference speak to the fact that Jamaica's GDP is highly impacted by the law enforcement debacle that's in progress. I hope that Commissioner Blake, the new commissioner on the block, will take note and know that there are people in the diaspora who are well gifted to assist him in his endeavors. I hope that he will apply some predictive analysis that I know he's capable of because he's a IT guy. And he can combine that with his knowledge of crime and law enforcement and be an effective commissioner in predicting and in stopping some of these murders. You cannot no longer leave these actors to their own demise. Too many innocent bystanders are being hurt, are being included in this lack of enforcement within underserved communities. We can no longer ignore those people, and I'm hoping that your choice of foot patrols and enhanced patrols in underserved communities will be a reality. You don't need to form any special group to do that. You just need to get all of these officers sitting up in offices on the backsides, not doing a whole lot. Get them out onto the street, target the zones where crime is being impacted and get these people working as police officers again, walking the beat, talking to merchants, talking to people, doing the things that are necessary, and to get them to be on the side of people once more. People don't trust the police force, and they won't trust you until you reach out, hands across the island, to embrace them as our own, as our people. And I realize that things are going to be difficult in applying these uh, community policing tactics, but it's a necessary tactic to win our neighborhoods back again. And if we can get all Jamaicans supporting your local police stations, ensuring that the promises made by the government since 2008 to renovate police stations become a reality. That we don't see police stations out in the middle of a swimming pool. That we don't see officers being rained on. That we don't see officers pushing broken down vehicles. And I might add the fire department at that. With all the monies that the U.S. has given to the efforts at law enforcement, we should never have been short on cars. We bought a bunch of motorcycles, and we don't see too many motorcycles ridden by police officers on the roads. We know that there is traffic enforcement, but what about patrols in underserved communities? That is a missing element. I only want to be able to address the future. I know Mr. Rattigan will probably get a more detailed overview of things to you. But we have to begin the process to make our neighborhoods whole and to get monies into the various parts of the community, helping with business, helping with the fact that the diaspora has been $3.5 billion annually in this effort in keeping families afloat. We can't no longer classify jobs with these guys using the squeegee and windshield.
Mr. Nelson?
13,000 a day. So I'm gonna close, Jeff. So I can only see that the twisting of numbers at the Ministry of Finance and the fact that you are so hell bent on showing that you have full employment in Jamaica has become a farce. And we need to stop those types of activities because, as we say, figures lie and liars figure. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Brother Herb. I really appreciate that overview. And we want to reinforce the fact that we need to take care of the garrisons and the so-called underserved communities, not from hard policing alone, as he said, but community policing, right? Community policing. We have a heart. These people would not be in that quagmire if we were focusing on them from the time we said we recommended certain things, and many people have recommended it. We really need to know that these people are okay. They can get a legal meal. They can go to work. Their children will be okay, and they will not be on the streets roaming, etc. This is a travesty. This never used to happen in Jamaica. And the poorest of the poor, a country is judged by how we treat the poorest amongst us. And it is so very important. So we are suggesting that we need to work together both the diaspora and Jamaica and other entities to make sure that what we see as Jamaica, the brand Jamaica, can be preserved not only abroad, but in Jamaica itself by action by our leaders. Okay, without further ado, I'm not going to take up much time. I'm going to be asking, I think it's Mr. Lyon, who is going to be coming next to speak. Am I correct? Am I correct? Yes.
I think we're going to have, Doc is going to come in. Lion?
No, it's
Yeah.
Mr. Rattigan, I think, is going to come in now.
Oh.
Mr. Rattigan is going to come in now. We want to welcome Wilfred Rattigan on, and he is, of course, everybody knows who he is. He's a little bit of a troublemaker like me, they say, but I think he's more of one. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Not for one moment. I'm joking, ladies and gentlemen. This guy, I've known him for quite some time, back from when we went to Jamaica in 2016, for those who don't know. And we have been working together to find out ways and means of how we can improve Jamaica together, not by fighting amongst each other, but real policy, real peace, and real love for Jamaica. This is the man, Wilfred Rattigan. Thank you. Your time, sir.
Thank you, Doc. Can everyone hear me?
Loud and clear.
Outstanding. Let me start by saying all protocols observed. And I'll start with a reading from Psalms 121, the middle of the chapter. And this is essentially a prayer for our people, our family members. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. Now, today, folks, what you're hearing and what you will continue to hear is real talk from real diasporan members about real issues affecting our people, real people. Today is the launching of the first biennial online diaspora conference. So you will not hear a lot of details because this is just to introduce you to what you will hear in June. Now, the government is putting on their conference. They did their launching yesterday. And they will have their conference on June 16th through 19th in the daytime hours. We will have our conference the same days, the same dates, but at nighttime. And that will give us the opportunity to have listened to them, to analyze what they've said, to dissect every policy that they've mentioned, that they'll mention, and also to provide solutions, because our conference will be solutions driven for the people. Now, brothers and sisters, family members, you're going to hear me talk in the few minutes I have right now about people. We are not about products, services, or personal investments. And that was what the launching yesterday was all about. We have come today, as my good friend Lion would say, with lightning and thunder, and of course, earthquake. Because what we're saying is earth shattering. We are passionate about our people. We are desirous of having our people live a peaceful life, of living productive lives, not lives beset by poverty. And so what I'd like to do at this point is to take you through what I heard yesterday and to reinforce my point that people, if you have not made arrangements, if you have made arrangements to attend the conference in June in Jamaica, Montego Bay, Jamaica, cancel your plans. And if you are thinking of going, do not go. I'm going to give you the reasons why. Now, yesterday, and they made it abundantly clear about what this conference is about. They talked about it being a 20-year celebration. And I think it was the master or mistress of ceremony, Miss Paula Ann Porter Jones, who mentioned that if you have a cow that's giving you milk, you should make sure that the cow doesn't kick over the bucket of milk. That cow, ladies and gentlemen, is us, the people in the diaspora. And to some degree, we're kicking over that bucket of milk today that they've been drinking for quite some time now without any interruption, without any fear of being challenged. We're going to challenge them today. Starting today, well, it started already. It started in Miami and even before. Today's just another segment in the story. Now, the minister, the junior minister, he started out by saying that involving or introducing, talking about his platinum partners. Those partners do not include our poor. They do not include the poverty-stricken. They include their friends. They're well-heeled, well-to-do friends. And he said that the conference should be looked at as, linkages for trade and investment opportunities. I ask you, the cow, the diaspora, how many of you have the wherewithal to go to a conference and establish trade and investment linkages? Not very many of you. In fact, very few. He also said it was to foster collaboration. What kind of collaboration? I'll leave him aside. The next speaker was Mr. Courtney Campbell from the VM Group. And I think he's chair of this event that they're planning. And he called the diaspora a movement. Movement, not an organization, a movement. And you know why, folks? Because it's not legally recognized. And we're asking them to legally recognize that organization that belongs to us, doesn't belong to them. Although, based on the terms of reference, they occupy 3 by the minister himself. But anyway, Mr. Campbell said there are 10 reasons why we should all flock to Montego Bay in June for the conference. And I'll read the 10 reasons to you. The first one, he said, Montego Bay. We should go because it's in Montego Bay. Folks, you don't have to go to a conference to go to Montego Bay. That's one of the most ridiculous reasons I've ever heard to attend a diaspora conference. It's because it's being held in Montego Bay. You can go to Montego Bay any time of the year on your own. And in fact, I would say if you have made plans to go to the conference, cancel going to the conference. You should still go to Jamaica. Go visit your family. Go visit your friends. Support the Jamaican economy, but do not support this illegitimate organization or movement, as they call it. So the first one was Montego Bay. The second one was to spend time in Jamaica. You can do that without going to a conference, ladies and gentlemen. And by the way, for the conference, here's what you have to do. Remember, it's your conference. And they have invited you to their conference. They who? The people who guide and direct the movement. And who are they? The government of Jamaica. And here's what you have to do to attend your conference. You're going to have to come up with the airline ticket, transportation, ground transportation, hotel accommodations, food. And you also have a registration fee for your conference. And that's why our conference is so attractive, because our conference is free. You don't have to take time off. You go to work, come home, put your feet up, and listen to real diasporan members talking about real issues affecting real Jamaicans. And they're providing real solutions. Because it's not enough to criticize. I don't believe in criticizing, damaging the structure and leaving it. You have to leave a blueprint for rehabilitation. The third reason he gave was it's a diaspora marketplace to generate leads for business. For business. The fourth was to visit the arts and crafts market. All of these things you can do without going to the conference. The fifth was to experience authentic Jamaican food. Well, I know some of my virgin them in New York around the restaurant, and would have been really upset at this because them believe them produce some really, really authentic food. But be that as it may, you don't have to go to the conference to experience real, authentic Jamaican food. Number 6, he said, come and visit property you want to buy because they will provide financing. Financing is there. You don't have to go to the conference for that. Number 7, he said, tour the island. And he made a plug for Island Car Rental and Digicel. You don't have to go to the conference to tour the island, to rent a car from Island Car Rentals, and to get a chip or a phone from Digicel. Number 8, he says to rekindle connection in Jamaica. You don't have to go to the conference to do that. Number 9 should be reason number 1, family. Number 9 is the conference agenda. Should be number 1. It's number 9, so you can see where their priorities are placed. And number 10, build stronger networks in areas you're interested in. You don't have to go to the conference for that. Then we had Senator Don Webby from Grace Kennedy. And he joked about the previous speaker not mentioning Grace products. And he talked about collaboration, innovation, and solidarity. Talked about the diaspora fostering peace, productivity, and youth empowerment. And he also said it's never been a better time for diaspora to invest in our country. Invest in our country. He went on to talk about digital innovation and the agricultural sector, saying there are 2 areas we should be looking into. Talked about food security and sustainability. The question is, how do you do this when you have a declining farmer population? And this is coming out of Statin. They're saying every year that they're doing the statistics for people involved in the agricultural sector, they're seeing fewer and fewer farmers. And then he went on to promote Grace Kennedy products, the food, Western Union, and so on and so forth. Then the next speaker was a James Bank Group. I believe her name is Khalees.
Khalees. Or Lisa Yo.
Yeah.
Lisa Yo.
Yeah, same thing. It's more about promoting products, promoting services. Speaker, Mr. Andrew Winter came on. He spoke all fluff. If you notice, folks, he never once talked about the problem, a vexing problem regarding passports in the diaspora. He never talked about that. How many of you in the diaspora have applied for a passport and you've waited months and months? In fact, some of you have waited more than a year to get your passport. He never addressed that issue. It's all fluff. JamPro came on, Miss Cox, or Mrs. Cox, and she talked about JamPro office in Canada was closed and it's now reopened and so on and so forth. The one thing she never talked about was farm workers issue in Canada. Never addressed that, because keep in mind, it may not be in their portfolio, but remember, they said they're applying a whole of government approach. That means every government agency and ministry, every single one of them is involved and responsible to ensure that brand Jamaica is preserved and that Jamaicans are treated fairly overseas. In fact, that's in their terms of reference, and it's also in the Diaspora national policy. She was followed by Mr. Hendrickson, National Bakery. I think the mistress of ceremony called it Continental Bakery. But he came on and he was talking again about products in the diaspora community. Digicel came after him, Mr. Parkinson. Again, more products. He talked about diaspora engagement, but in terms of products. Digital business opportunities in the local economy. And the last partner, legacy partner, I believe, or platinum partner, was Mr. Parks from Island Car Rental. More advertising about a product. So folks, you see where I'm going with this. We want to hear about housing or the lack thereof. We want to hear about health, declining state of the health sector in Jamaica. We want to hear about Jamaica being having one of the highest murder rates in the world. And what plans do we have to address that? We want to hear about the declining rate of education in Jamaica. We want to hear about poverty in Jamaica, what's being done to stem the increase in poverty. We want to hear about infrastructure, water, roads, electricity, energy. These are some of the things we would like to hear about. But instead, what we heard about was products, services, and investments. No care at all for the people who are suffering. None. We on this platform cannot stand idly by while they promote and peddle the wares of their friends, their well-to-do friends, while the masses suffer under the strain of trying to survive on a minimum wage of 13,000 Jamaican dollars per week. It's unfair. It's unjust. It's abominable. It's intolerable. And we have to do something about it. Now, our something is this. We are going, as I mentioned, we're going to have our conference. And our conference is going to pick apart all the things that they've been feeding you. Like, for example, oh, I forgot. How could I forget? The Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, my favorite minister, the Honorable Kamina Johnson-Smith, dubbed a Pina by the Ghanaians. She was the last person to speak. And she said, among other things, we plan this conference with you in mind. We, meaning the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade and the government of Jamaica, plan this conference with you in mind. Where is the diaspora presence? This conference should be planned by the diaspora with the government in mind. The organization should be a standalone organization composed of diasporan members who are ready, willing, and able to engage the government regarding diasporan issues and issues concerning the welfare and well-being of Jamaicans living in Jamaica. Period. End of story. So they've invited us to our conference. And one of the things she talked about this Global Jamaica Diaspora Council, Youth Council, as well as the other councils. And she said, oh, we have an election process, and there are 30 members. And if you didn't know this, you would simply think that every single member is elected. And that would be a mistake, because most of the members are appointed by whom? By the government of Jamaica. So how can they represent our interests? You have 4 board members, 3 of whom are Jamaican officials. You have 30 members, most of whom are appointed by the government of Jamaica. Don't you see the connection? They cannot speak for us. They will never speak for us. We will never succumb to that. And so that's why we're here. We're here to stand up, not only for the people in the diaspora, but for the people in Jamaica. And I can tell you this. I consider myself a young man, vibrant, hopeful. And because I do, I am not doing this for my children, my children's children, and so on and so forth. I'm doing this beginning with me. I would like to be the change that I'm talking about. And so the others can benefit. I'm not doing this to say, well, the change will come 10 years, 20 years, 30 years after I'm gone. No. With every fiber of my being, I'm going to fight this government and subsequent governments to ensure that Jamaicans are treated fairly, are treated justly, and that the government will live up to its promise. If you make a promise, you don't make it unless you believe you can fulfill it. And even if you don't fulfill it, because we're all humans and we're all susceptible to making mistakes, at least come out and admit that you've made a mistake and ask for forgiveness and ask us to trod the road with you to redemption and rehabilitation. But when you have a government that will stand up and accept no blame and pretend as if everything is okay, then you cannot, folks, you simply cannot sit by. You have to get involved, because the government is not going to do a course correction simply because we say do a course correction. It won't happen. That's not the way power operates. And they have the power, but we are powerful. We are the ones who put them in those positions of power. And therefore, we are the ones who will have to remove them, because they will not abdicate positions of power. So Jamaicans, the choice is yours. A year and a half from now, we will have an election. And you will have to decide. And when you do decide, think about this. Are you better off when the promises were made? Or are you better off now that the promises have not been fulfilled? Thank you very much.
I thank Wilfred Radigan, retired FBI agent, for coming on. Dr. Francis, over to you. Unmute your mic for us, please.
Yes. Thank you very much, Mr. Tavares. I hope you're ready to speak in a short while. Are you, Mr. Tavares? You going to speak?
I'll yield to my distinguished Sir Lion.
I know that. But before, let me just tell you, I want to thank you, and many people have been texting and saying they're thanking you for opening those doors, Mr. Rattigan, and my brother before Herb, opening those doors. We kind of left them because we want everybody to know that this is not a one-man pony thing. This is everyone is involved in this, and we care about Jamaica, and we love Jamaica. At Jamaica, we're born and bred, and we'll be all Jamaicans whenever we're dead. Let me make it quite clear that what Mr. Rattigan just announced is not something we made up. It was a draft called the Jamaica Diaspora Policy. Stand by, Mr. Lyon. The National Diaspora Policy is on the page of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and in the GIS. And a part reads like this. The National Diaspora Policy seeks to provide a framework for maximizing the value of diaspora contributions to Jamaica's development, while at the same time addressing issues and concerns of the diaspora and assisting them to live in harmony and to prosper in countries where they and their descendants reside. And I hope, and it doesn't say Jamaica, prosper in Jamaica. So I wonder why that was left out, but I happen to be one of those who had signatured it in the past. Ladies and gentlemen, the diaspora is integral to Jamaica. We are Jamaicans. And what Mr. Rattigan has just told us is that it is our indelible right to defend our country at all over, whether at home or abroad. Those people who now feel that we are the enemy, or they have convinced, people are convincing you that we are the enemy, we don't love Jamaica. They are lying through their teeth. We love Jamaica, and that is why we are doing it. We have done nothing to destroy Jamaica. We want to build it. We want housing. We want our children to have a future, just like I had, just like many of you had. We want a future. It's not only certain people's children that have to have a future. We want our children to have a better Jamaica. So I ask you all, stop let them fool you. Tom drunk, but Tom no fool. We're not stupid. You understand me? And I want you to listen more on one more of our speakers who has an indelible mark on what are the prospects and the conditions in Jamaica and why we love you and we want to work with every man jack in Jamaica, bar none. And we want the people out there killing people for money. Your time will come. We are not going to allow it, and we're not going to support it. Right? The government must provide opportunities for you to go away from those activities. And we all will join hands with you. And we have offered it in the past, and you have refused it. And we have the information to prove what I'm saying right now. No joke. So without further ado, I am going to give you the man with the big name, Brother Lion. Your time. You're on the move. Go ahead, sir.
Great and marvelous are thy works, Lord God Almighty. Just and true are thy ways, O thou King of saints. Who shall not fear thee and glorify thy name? For thou, Yah, art holy, and there is none but thee. Brother Rattigan, I tell you, I just took the baton a while ago from Psalms 121 and carried on to Psalms 90. Bless you, my brother. I bless you as I come onto the platform, and I want to talk about our esteemed brethren, Jeffrey Tavares, who has made this platform a springboard for the total liberation of the Jamaican people and those in the diaspora. Brothers, General is not a captain to me, Dr. Rupert. Brother Herb Nelson, a powerhouse that is like a stealth bomber. You're better than B2. And our esteemed pastor that was in the initial stages with prayer, better late than never. Welcome to everyone Now let's embrace the viewers and the listeners. We're living in interesting times. Today is a wonderful day. If you notice that I have not made mention of one person who was with us previously, and she's taking a little bit of leave, because this is the icing of the greetings and salutations. It was a breath of fresh air. You know, I can see why God said that it was not good for Adam to be alone. The completeness that Michelle brought to the platform proves that this move is not only not leaving anyone behind, but it respects the fundamental elements of nationhood, which is familyhood. And as she came in, as the female, I don't even want to say counterpart, I just said part, right? As a female part of this August platform, the breath of fresh air that she brought was this. She was unapologetical in terms of our political integrity. And she was speaking and invoking the spirit from 1936. There in the United States, where the Jamaica Progressive League was formed. Now, today could not be a normal day. The spirit that was invoked by the woman at the well is that of the diaspora playing the integral, not one of, the integral part in the political and social liberation of the Jamaican people. It was started then when the people were placed in between the knives and forks of the JLP and the PNP. We don't have to cast aspersions. The proof of the pudding is in the eating. There is nothing that Jamaica has to show in terms of a liberated people other than bloodshed, mayhem, and some high-rise buildings. And of course, some highways. The diaspora right now is being seen in a different light because of the activity of the OJLDF. You know why government is stepping up and amping up their diaspora outreach now? They realize they have missed the boat. Not only is there a 77% or a 67% worst case scenario of persons who do not participate in the Jamaican electoral process. They abstain to vote because they are disenfranchised by the corruption and the violence, and they see no end to it. They are not the only silent majority. There is a sleeping giant that has been awakened by the OJLDF, by the grace of the Almighty God. Psalms 90 that I quoted was a psalm of Moses. That invocation has shown that there is a greater voting population that existing in the diaspora. Now I ask you, you don't think that is cause for the governments, plural, to fret? And the thing about it is, they cannot stop this movement that is turning into an organization that I dare say, and let it be known today, the best option for Jamaica, not as a third political party, but as the first political party that was started from 1936. Just like how this is the first diaspora meeting and conference ever held in the diaspora. These things are significant, and we welcome with humility the opportunity to participate in something so magnificent as this. Let us not despise humble beginnings. We might look like a ragtag army with a bunch of peasants behind us. But if they look closely, much more closely, they realize that there is a pillar of fire and a pillar of cloud that are accompanying us. In other words, the destiny that we seek, I declare, if the voice of the people is the voice of God, then the Lord is on our side. Today, let us mark this day. And we're not being apologetic about it either. What is existing as a diaspora representation now is a fallacy, and we make no apologies. They're just living high on the hog in terms of the cocktail parties, etc., etc., the selfies. Jamaican diaspora is benefiting nothing. It's a setup, and they too know that it is so. However, we are not coming against them as individuals. We are saying either they register themselves as a legal entity in the US or face the dire legal consequences for the impostorship that they have designed into a mechanism that they call a diaspora movement / organization, whatever that is. This is a warrant. We are not negotiating from a point of weakness with our hats in our hands, begging Master to try to give us a blind. No, we are talking from a strength and a position of power. Because such is knowledge, and we are availing the Jamaican people, those at home and those abroad, of this knowledge, that once they exercise it, there is no power that can prevent them. It has been, and it will always be, a pleasure being amongst brethren like this and the audience that are listening. It's time for a call to action. Let's rise, diaspora, and come to the head of the nation. I yield.
Well, thank you very much, Brother Lion, for those stirring words of truth and we're being aware of what is going to happen in the future. The future is in our hands. The future is like what we're saying. We want peace and harmony and collaboration, cooperation. That is what we need. And so I am telling you that we should find other persons, tell them to come back home, tell them to work with us, tell them to, speak to all and sundry as to how we can build Jamaica, both at home and abroad. It's so very important. We need the support, though, from everyone in the government and everybody in civil society to work with us to see if we can make sure that Jamaica under God will certainly continue to be the best Jamaica that we can. We have some issues. We have some issues with our young people. They know it and we know it, but we have to go back to the roots, work with them, because the children are our future. We cannot afford to let them go. We cannot let them run jostling around us. We have to take back the reins. Take back the reins, as was said earlier, very, very eloquently. So I want to go now and say to those persons out there, please do the research and embolden others, talk to others about it. Now we're going to have the penultimate speaker is going to be Mr. Jeffrey Tavares. He's going to bring greetings. I want to thank him most sincerely for having put this platform together to make sure that we are now sharing what we know and what have you. And I want to thank Mr. Rattigan for so expressly putting on hold, leaving no holds barred at all. And ladies and gentlemen, this is but the kata. The load is but to come. There are many more like us. For those of you, some people call us the Dirty 30. Oh, I don't know about that. That you better make it a door to 50,000. Ladies and gentlemen, you are going to see what is going to happen. You know, some people say we are not trying to talk to. That is not true. We have even sent them a second letter. Oh, we didn't tell you that, did we? We have sent a second letter inviting them. Okay, you said we didn't do it. We did it the wrong way the first time. Now we sent it the right way, and they still have not responded. So what more you want us to do? Eh? The buck carry bucket to the well one day, the bottom must drop out. Right? We must feed our conscience, ladies and gentlemen. We must do what is right. So based upon those remarks, I'm going to give Mr. Jeffrey Torres, the maker of this platform, to yours is the stage to continue. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rupert Francis, Herb Nelson Jr., Wilfred Radigan, Lion, and the goodly doctor for coming on this platform here. In Jeremiah 29, it reads, verse 11, "For I know the plan I have for you, declare the Lord, plan to prosper you and not harm you, plan to give you hope and a future." For many times you have heard this being echoed across the political divide in our country. For many times you have heard this echoed by the Governor General, by the Prime Minister, by those who I call the Vumvavon, the Vumvavi of society. But I know the Lord thy God has created this movement, a movement in which he gave us the opportunity to get up and say, we, the favorite dirty 30 they call us, have the plan for the people of Jamaica. Because God has given us the initiative to organize something like this. And so this morning, as we come on this platform, let us all come together as one Jamaican. Not as a member of the People's National Party, a member of the Jamaica Labour Party. We are Jamaicans, and we must remain Jamaicans. We're never born of any political affiliation or affiliations. We're born Jamaicans. So this morning, let us come together. Let us put the politics behind us and look about the piece of rock in the Caribbean, the gem of the Caribbean, that so many people envy. When you tell them you're from Jamaica, oh my God, so many people will think that, hey, I would love to be in Jamaica. Let us take up this mantle and run with the mantle that will lead us for a brighter future. Let it be said in years to come that this group, this organization, stand up for a better Jamaica, a Jamaica for our children, a Jamaica in which all of us can live, work, and raise family. Not the dream that they have, not the dream that they continue having about 2030, but let it become a reality. Let it become a reality, my fellow Jamaicans from all walks of life, from Negril Point to Moran Point. Yes, we can make Jamaica a better place. Yes, we can make Jamaica a peacefuler place. Yes, we can make Jamaica a place in which we all can go back home to and have a better life. Many of us don't want to live abroad. Many of us want to go back home to the land that we love, the land that we call home. But yet, because of politicians and because of corruption, cronyism, and nepotism, our country is in dire state of repair. And so this morning, as we come on this platform, we don't come on this platform as any political propagandists or people who are saying, hey, we're a member of this and we're a member of that. We come on here as Jamaican citizens, as Jamaicans who will continue to raise that flag high and continue to say to the powers may be, we will not stand for what you are doing to the country that we surely love. We will continue to fight for this piece of rock and stand up for this piece of rock. May God bless you and may God bless all of us on this platform. and guide us and protect us in all that we do. And may we continue to fight with every fiber of our being for this piece of rock. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. That was very, very powerful, Jeffrey. One of the most powerful I've heard so far. You should be a preacher. All of you are the preachers. But I want to go to my brother, Dr. Bedward. I know you've been sitting there listening, and I want to thank you very much for coming on just before we kind of wrap up. Or we can take some questions. We can take some calls, I would imagine. But before we do that, I'm going to ask you, Brother Philip, what are your thoughts based on what you've just heard, and where do you think we go from here? What you've just heard.
Unmute your mic for me, Doc.
So unmute. Are you hearing me now?
Yes.
Loud and clear from Negril
Okay.
Point to Moran Point. All in
Yes.
Garden House hearing you.
Right, sir. Well, good afternoon again. I'm happy to be here. I'm listening to all your esteemed brothers talking about a beloved country in Jamaica and the challenges we're having as a diaspora to actually engage the Jamaican government in a favorable way to have more involvement of us in the whole Jamaican affairs as it relates to policy and politics. I use the word involvement because I have sat at the tables with them. I was on the EGC, a little of our Diaspora task force, and I challenged them then about stop using the word engagement and use involvement. Engagement is a politically correct word. Involvement is when you have us not only at the door but inside, sitting on the table, so we can be part and parcel of the whole planning. They have refused to do so to date. So they go about and plan among themselves to harness the resources for the betterment of themselves, not so much to grow the country. If we look at 2019 through the 2023, we have been able to send back over almost $18 billion to Jamaica in that short time. We increased 2020 by a whopping 42%. We were the ones who bridged the gap. When there was no new money coming in, no investment or anything, we in the diaspora stepped up and increased remittance by 42% in 2020. And in 2021, we increased by a bit. That's World Bank figure by an additional 23%. So over that 2-year period, we increased remittances by 65%, and moving from $2.45 million to over $4 billion. And so the Government Bank of Jamaica commended us then, and because when they thought that they would have sunk, we were the ones who were helping them to ride the tide, and so their success was heavily dependent on us. However, all they care about is the money, to get more money from us, while the infrastructure. I look at Jamaica, and when it comes to education, primary education, it's said that 30% of the primary students, that cohort cannot read; they are literate. I want to go about the new high schools and the performance. It is 80% of them. 80% of the high school students are in the new high schools, and 80% of them are failing. So when you look at education in particular, we have a big challenge. Jamaica ranked 2 out of 177 countries when it comes to brain drain. Between 2010 and 2019, what 269 people left Jamaica. That's 2019. After COVID, we have had maybe another 100 plus to 120,000. So when you look at the number of people, I'm talking about professionals leaving Jamaica, we see a gap when it comes to brain drain. Yet when they're in Jamaica and they want to procure services, us in the diaspora were never considered. So what we need to do now, we're looking forward, is to ensure that we can bring them to the table to have the kind of dialogue to talk about an integration, not an engagement where they see themselves just want the money and we can go sit on the sideline, but to ensure that as Jamaicans, we have more resources than them. I'll go further and tell you that 53% of our Jamaicans who came here are homeowners. That's a whopping of almost 500,000, not to mention those who are born here. It's more than that. So you look at equity, our home ownership value between 150 and 250 billion dollars that we're sitting on. That if they engage us in a meaningful way, and we ourselves see that we can come together, have a centralized system to relate to them, we know that we can move way ahead in terms of having a better Jamaica, where all of us are involved and all of us can share to the building of Jamaica, and not those who think that they're the ones who have the reign. And
thank you, my brother. I really appreciate that so far. And we're running early amok, right? But thank you very much for your thoughts. They're very insightful. The figures that you gave us. I hope everybody, somebody wrote that we should be coming back to Jamaica to do this and do that. Let me make it sometimes I'm wondering if Jamaicans really listen. I wonder if they really listen, or some may not be able to understand what they read or what have you. But I'm telling you, my friends, that we do a lot in Jamaica, but we don't have to have a song and dance. Many of you say you've never heard of the Jamaica Diaspora Crime Intervention and Prevention Task Force. And right around you, we're doing things, but we don't let everybody know what we're doing. We don't do it because we know what is going to happen, right? They're going to throw cold water on it. And we have been there. We have done, everyone in this platform has been in a room with higher people. And they say, yes, we're going to do it. And then they throw the thing in file 13. Had they listened to us, even briefly, we gave them a solution to the gang, a safer city, to the gang problems. We gave it to them. We wrote it out. And I will say to you, the only minister that paid any attention during this 10-year period is Montague. So all you want to talk about Montague, but the fact, I'm going to say it right here on the platform, nobody else really cared. We went to the ambassador herself. We spoke to her many times, right? I know, I see her asking questions that has already been answered. Come on, ambassador. Respond to us as we know we love you. We're not Christian. You are the ambassador of the United States of America for Jamaicans. Not for yourself and not for Jamaica. For Jamaicans. Understand that. And we don't envy you. We don't necessarily want no accolades for it. All we are saying is, please, do what you have to do and make it right. I'm now going to see if we can open the lines a little bit before we close to anybody who wants to ask a question or call in. Is that okay, Mr. Tavares? No, it's not okay?
Yes, sir. We can open the lines for callers to ask questions. I know they have some questions to ask our good friend Wilfred Radigan.
Okay,
and the numbers are 954-529-8030. 954-529-8030. That's the numbers to call in if you have a question to ask anyone on the panel here about the Jamaican Diaspora, about our first biannual online Jamaican Diaspora conference.
Okay, Mr. Tavares.
Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the Make We Talk program.
Good afternoon, Mr. Jeffrey. Thank you for sending that program a while ago.
Yes, sir.
I want to ask those diaspora that was at that press conference or that meeting, what is the objective of a diaspora to any country? When I look at the African, the primary is health, education, crime. Those are the primary things for African diaspora.
Yes.
Those are the primary. When I listen to what Mr. Ratigan read, those people primary is to get the richer at the back of the diaspora. That can be a diaspora. A diaspora is to help the worthless as opposed to a diaspora. I came out with small, and my mother get buy from 5 to share to give our village. I don't know if in those days you remember those days.
Mm-hmm.
You never sent for the rich people. They are sent for the poor people. So I expect if a government going to have a meeting with diaspora, the first thing should be on it, how we going to reduce crime, how we going to get our young people in a training program, how we going to have a good health system. That's supposed to be a meeting of a diaspora. That's supposed to be your program talk about. It can't be about car rental company, vehicle company, food company. That can't right. That can't right. I expect we have a dance guy going to have somebody from the Ministry of Security. When that is star something, you're going to have them. You're going to have the doctor, head of the Doctor Association, the Minister of Health, head of the JTA, the Minister of Education. Those are the people who have a talk to the diaspora. Am I telling a lie, Mr. Tavares?
I'll tell you something, sir. Those people who have an authority in our country, they believe that they're above us and we're beneath them, sir. They don't speak to us. They speak to the people of the Vumvava and the Vumvavi, the people of the effluence of society, the people who is in Grace Kennedy and all those people who had there yesterday. 2 letters has been written to the Jamaican ambassador, not a response from none of them. And from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, sir.
But those people are people export to America, all of them. If you look at the rich people to export to America.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at all of them, right? The other year, nobody talk about how can we furnish the hospital. We don't need like those people. If we didn't know those people is there. That don't make sense. That's why I want to hear from the diaspora them.
Hold on for me, sir.
That was part of.
Hold on for me, sir. Dr. Francis, respond to you. Please go ahead, Dr. Francis.
I just want to respond to you, my friend. We got it. We know it. Listen to me. I am glad for the call and to make them understand that they should be looking out. The program is ridiculous. The program, in a sense, is just about what they can do in Jamaica and come and have a nice time. We can go and have a nice time. We don't want this. We want our people, all our people, to have a nice time. Good roads, water, housing, good education, good food for the children so that they can learn in school. We want all those things, but we can't make it happen. We have tried. We have paperwork to show, and they ignore us. Just a little while ago, I saw a post. Talk to the ambassador privately. I sent her a private email, and when she don't answer me, I make it public. Okay, and I mean we do it.
Well, as I got to wrap up now, Mr. Francis, and thank you, but I'm disappointed. Even the busy people that went, right? They're not for the poor, that's why for the poor. As I said, when I was growing up, boys that come to my mother, she give it to our village.
All right, sir.
Right. So it can't be, thank you, sir.
Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Mr. Rattigan, you want to comment to what the caller just said, sir? Or the question the caller has been talking about that,
No, the caller is completely correct. This is about high financing. It's about selling products, providing services, investments, so on and so forth. Somebody mentioned in the chat, and Doc referred to it, about the ambassador. I am not one to hold back simply because of somebody's position, and not criticize. When you have an ambassador who's going to come out and say that the people who demonstrated in Miami, they're responsible for the enhanced travel advisory. without any evidence whatsoever. That is wrong. I don't see people calling her out for that. Right? In fact, the US government, shortly after she did that, they said, Madam Ambassador, you're completely off your rocker. They said, we're doing it because of the health sector in Jamaica. Health. And we have shown video after video after video showing how critical, how dire the health service is in Jamaica. So, and also, if you look at the way she conducts herself, whenever there is a Let's Connect meeting, there are certain people she will not call on. You cannot be an ambassador and display those types of tendencies. You cannot. You cannot be an ambassador and relinquish your position to the diaspora, asking them to call the State Department, asking them to write the State Department to do something about the travel advisory. That is your job. And if I were Prime Minister, the moment that those words came out of your mouth, you would be recalled. Because it means you have become an abject failure. Abject failure. And we cannot have failure. We cannot have failures at this level. We cannot. She's been here 8 years for this stint. She was here previously, but she's been here now since 2016.
Yes.
And we don't have a lot to show for it. I mean, and you're talking to somebody who has been to all the cocktail parties. I've been on the diplomatic circuit, not only here in the US, but abroad. And I know what is required of our diplomats. I know what is required of other diplomats. And here what we have a fashion show masquerading as a diplomat. We have an ambassador who's more concerned about her hairstyle than about passports for the people. We have an ambassador who cares more about her perception than about the reality being faced by the diaspora. So I have no use for people who would come and with their ridiculous statements that the ambassador is this and the ambassador is that. If you think the ambassador is all of that, then maybe you should go there and have her change her ways. But I am unafraid to deal with people who would make statements like that, because I say they're useless.
Yes.
And they should join the pack following the ambassador. And in fact, some of those same people, they're saying, some of those same people, and I see them in the chat. Hold on 1 second, Jeffrey, because my blood are boiling now. I have to say what they're on my mind.
You know what? I'm telling you to hold a minute and try to remember what you're gonna say. We have a call online, but I want you to wrap up what you're gonna say. Go ahead.
No, all right. Yeah, some of these same people, they come out and they said, we shouldn't vote in the diaspora because we don't live in Jamaica. How ridiculous. How ridiculous. Lady, you should be ashamed of yourself. You shouldn't even come on this platform. Because if you're the Jamaican Constitution says if you're a Jamaican, you have the right to vote. And this government and previous governments, they've said that they're going to establish a mechanism so that we can vote from overseas. Because we too have a stake in Jamaica. In fact, that same lady who's making these comments, she said she wants to go back home. So my question to this lady is then, okay, if you want to go back home, are you waiting until you get home to try and make a difference? Or do you are you so selfish that because you're not affected by it, you think you deem it fit that you should just stay out of it? No, we are fighting, Jeffrey, and the rest of my esteemed panel. We're fighting for the promise of Jamaica. We're fighting for the good of our people. We're not fighting for ourselves, because I guarantee you, each of us individually here, we probably don't have to go back to Jamaica because we're doing quite well. We don't have to go back to Jamaica, and we don't have to say a word about Jamaica. We could do like some of these people, just not say anything and pretend that we're not even Jamaicans, because we can put on the accent when we know to put it on, right? But we are not of that ilk. We are of the ilk that we say we are fighting for. Me should have put up my background, because
yes,
my inspiration. Oh, go ahead with the call, Jeffrey, because I mean, you know.
Caller, go ahead first. Welcome to the program.
Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Go ahead, man.
Okay. I want to draw attention to Jesus called his 12 disciples to him, and he said to them, "Be careful of the scribes and the Pharisees." What he was literally saying, that there are people in life you run to, and there are people in life you run away from. And the reality is, we need to run to the wise and stay away from the fools. And that's the problem with the diaspora in Jamaica. You know what I mean? We need to look at integrity and run to the wise and stay away from the fools. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you very much for calling in, sir. Mr. Rattigan, back over to you.
Yeah, you know, and so we're a positive platform. But that particular lady, and I don't see her anymore in the chat, but I hope she's there because some people are, well, big up yourself. But I said people want to rub her out. But don't do that. We don't want to rub her out. What we want to do is we want to correct her. Because when you make statements like we shouldn't vote in Jamaica because we don't live there and we're in this and we're in that and that, you've completely missed the point. You've completely missed the boat. So this again, folks, is not about a cussing session or anything like that. This is about an official launch of our conference in June. And our conference in June is going to be quite interesting because I know that some of the government officials are listening to us now. And they've seen strategically where they've made an error. Because yesterday, it was one of the biggest blunders they could make because we now have a very active, we have a very concerned, very, 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 very deliberate diaspora in the way we approach issues. This diaspora is not like the diaspora of my mother, where them just sit back and take everything people throw at them. This diaspora is taking things that's been thrown at them, and we are flinging it back off at people and we are throw it off us. This diaspora is a very fierce diaspora. This diaspora is a very, very calculated diaspora in the sense that we not take no talk. We will admit when we're wrong. We will give people their props when they're right. But when people wrong, we're not going to sit down here so and walk behind them and big them up because guess what? We no need to go on no cocktail party. By the way, someone out there who have issues, ask yourself this: have you ever received a call from your diaspora, your global Jamaica Diaspora Council member, or the ambassador, or the consul general inviting you to a function at the embassy? No, most of you have never. In fact, it's how them treat someone in New York. Them left out now the rain day before yesterday. You couldn't even go in to go deal with the passport issues. See there? Look on that. By the way, folks, that's exactly where we will be on May 10th. Right in front of this building here. But look what them leave the Jamaicans them outside. And you don't make arrangements for your people to come inside of the building. You don't make arrangements that say, hey, we lease this space and therefore we have to work here. So we have to make arrangements so people will come in. Or you set it up so that people come in at a certain time. You stagger it. This is nonsense. So I just want people to know that I am very, very concerned about the direction where the government is taking the country. And like I was saying, Jeffrey, I'm just so sorry that we don't have my background because my zinc fence, that's all
yes.
That when I walk into this room and I see that zinc fence, I don't need a script once me see the zinc fence because me attack from a soul and me attack from a people. It's not about me. It was about me years ago. Not any longer. It's about my people. We cannot leave those people behind, and we cannot pretend as if they don't exist. We cannot have an investment conference, a products conference, a products exposition, and forget that some of the same people them who not talk to, them have organizations in Jamaica where them pay the people the minimum wage. And sometimes to avoid the minimum wage, instead of having people work 4 days, what them do, them have them work, I mean 5 days, them have them work 3 days. Right? And have them do 5 days work. These are our people. Somebody mentioned in the thing also that Grace Kennedy, take a look at a Grace Kennedy product if you get a chance. And you are likely to find that that product was not
Made in Jamaica.
packaged in Jamaica, produced in Jamaica. You're likely to find it somewhere else. It's Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, whatever, somewhere else. So all I have to say is, folks, avoid that conference like the plague. Come to our conference, because at our conference, you're going to hear, let me just tell you now about the conference. Yes, the Magnitsky. I'm not going to hear about the Magnitsky too. At our conference, the format will be like this. We will have speakers that can address the topic raised by government. So you see what we're doing? We're forcing them now to deal with the issues, because if we're not there, guess what you're going to hear? You're going to hear a lot of talk about investments, products, services. That's what you're going to hear. We don't want that. We want to hear about corruption, poverty, crime, housing, health, roads, those are the things we want to hear about. Those are the things that should be on the agenda, that them tell us, say, how are we going to collaborate so that we can eradicate these problems? We can take the yoke from around our people's necks so that everyone will have a chance to live a decent life. Those are the conversations we should be having at the conference, not how them can make a buck off of the backs of our people. And we join into that scheme. We join. So now when we say, no, we're going to talk about these issues, guess what now? Them can come in at the morning and talk about an investment scheme, because that is not helping our people. Them can't come in the morning and talk about selling more Grace products, especially when the Grace products coming from another country, because that's not helping our people. And we know that corporations don't pay their fair share of taxes. We know that. So we are going to be forcing them to deal with the issues, because we will be dealing with the issues. And as Lion said, this organization, this meaning their organization, which they call a movement, not a movement. Go back and look at the diaspora policy, look at the terms of reference, and what you will find there, you will find the layout of an organization. You will find things such as voting. You'll find such thing as discipline. You'll find things such as leadership. You'll find things such as their goals and objectives. You're going to find all those things that you would find with an organization. So don't make them fool you. The reason why they cannot register that is because you cannot have an organization in America composed of foreign government officials directing US citizens. Huge problems. So they're satisfied to call it a movement, when in fact it's acting like an organization. And in fact, I'll go one further than that. I will say that it is an arm of the Jamaican government. No matter what they tell you in the first section of the terms of reference, it is an arm of the Jamaican government. When you have 3 out of the 4 people from the Jamaican government, when you have the leader being the junior minister in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, when you have him telling people that he can get rid of people that they've appointed, it's an arm of the Jamaican government. When you have them appointing more than half of the people to this 30-member group, it is an arm of the Jamaican government, no matter what they say. Don't believe your lying eyes. Your lying eyes will see the section where it says it is not an arm of the Jamaican government, but in practice, it is. And therefore, they cannot register it. But the time is coming when they will have to make a decision Will they register it and get rid of government influence? Or will they allow something else to happen? Stay tuned for that something else, my people.
There is 2 videos that I want to play. Mr. Rattigan speak about, no, the lady in the chat room said we need to speak to those people. Oh Lord, one moment, please. Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the Mekutar program.
Good afternoon, Jeffrey. Good afternoon, my brothers and my uncles, Ratty, everybody. God bless you all. Thank you for the wonderful job you are doing. Is it possible that you can let Lion just call a word for me? Manuscript act.
Magnitsky
I
Act?
love when him. Yes, I love when him have that punch. Yeah, to it. I want him to say.
Lion, and mute him. I can say it for us, please.
The Magnitsky Act.
Yes. All right. God bless you guys and take care.
Thank you very much for calling in, my friend. Thank you for calling in.
You're welcome.
No, let me explain it, man. Make Lion go into some explanation about Magnitsky.
Yes, Lion, go an explanation for us, please.
Say that again.
Can you explain the Magnitsky Act for us, please?
In simple terms, and that's how we like to keep it simple. We don't like the over hyperloaded thing where people can understand clearly. The Magnitsky Act is simply an anti-corruption act that you can use to hold politicians as well as private sector leaders accountable to the point that their assets can be frozen, their authority revoked, as well as their visas to the United States and Britain and Canada, once those participating countries recognize the representation such as the ones that is being made now by the group in the diaspora in particular, as well as supporters in Jamaica. So this Magnitsky Act, it is also retroactive, meaning it's not just applying to this year or this administration. It also encompasses an international sphere. It was based off a gentleman who was in the same anti-corruption case, and his surname was Magnitsky. Now, the US formed that particular act so as to enable those like ourselves who want the tool and the equipment to hold governments in particular accountable as far as corruption especially is concerned. I hope I would bring some clarity.
Yes. Thank you very much. We're going to play.
All right, go
Mr. Rattigan, let me get your mic first. We're not hearing you.
Oh, you can't hear me? Can you hear me?
Go ahead now. You're saying?
No, I was just gonna add to a little piece to what my learned brother just said.
Yes.
Correct. The Magnitsky Act was named after a Russian person who just came across corruption, and he was arrested and beaten and subsequently died. And initially it was for corruption, but now, and for Russia, but it's now applied across the globe for corruption, human rights abuse, and kleptocracy. So if you're engaged in any of those things, and you are, well, it doesn't matter if you have a visa or not, but if you have a visa, your visa will certainly come under scrutiny to be revoked. And depending on what the charge is, if it's kleptocracy or corruption, then your property will be seized. And this is as far as the local politicians in Jamaica are concerned, this is very dangerous. Most of them have never heard of it, and they've read it since Lion started talking about it. They've read it and they've realized that its application could mean the end of what they would consider free reign to do whatever they wanted to do. And for example, you see the gentleman who was released from prison this week, who spent I think 40 years without being charged. That's
2 years.
Yeah, that's human rights abuse. That would subject the government, the people in charge of the Ministry of Justice, that would subject them to the Magnitsky Act. And we are going to make sure that that particular incident, along with other incidents, are provided to the appropriate components within the U.S. government.
Mm-hmm.
Because the days of things happening and we're just standing aside and said, oh, it happened, and then it's a 9-day wonder. Those days are over. I mean, if you look at this panel, you see some serious people, some serious people. And we are serious because we're addressing serious issues. And as they say,
Yes.
it's a desperate times call for desperate measures. Well, serious people have to deal with serious things, and that's where we are.
Gentlemen, we're going to wrap up now, but I want to show you 2 videos. One of them is a lady preacher from the Baptist Union in Jamaica. When the lady in the platform said that we must speak to the high-ups of the people who is in influential seats in Jamaica. Listen to what this lady said at the Baptist Union 170-something anniversary.
Moses listened, Moses heard, and Moses treated the matter with the respect it deserves. How different from what we see today in leadership, in state and in church. Whether church or society, our leaders are too big to listen to your little petty demand. We don't have any time to hear you. You're not important enough. But time come for us to rid ourselves of the arrogance. It is time for us to rid ourselves of the arrogance exercised by the gatekeepers and the enforcers who have beaten the word of God into weapons of injustice, weapons of inequity, and weapons of gross iniquities. Some of us, and many of you, can attest to the arrogance that you have experienced at the hands and the pen strokes and the taps of leaders and those in positions of power who determine your future by denying you your rights in the present.
I'm going to take a call, and then we're going to elaborate on that. Then we can do the other video, and then we're going to wrap up. Caller, welcome to the program. One moment for me, please. Yes, call. Go ahead.
Yes, good day. Greetings. How are you guys?
We're here, sir.
Yes, I just tuning into the program and just getting familiarized with the conference you guys are setting up, and that is good. That is good. The reason for my call still, I think we could do a lot of work involving you guys in also what you're doing to address the peoples in the Caribbean, especially in particular Jamaica. Because right now I'm not living in Jamaica, but I am from Jamaica. I was raised in Jamaica.
Yes, sir.
Now I'm in Canada, right? And I've been here correcting my status because I realize a lot of things that's been going on with our people that we didn't even realize that is going on with us. And the reason why I say correcting my status because me hear you guys talking about the passport and all these things, and a whole heap of people from the island and the Caribbean don't realize that them have Indian status and that they're Indians. You see, we are the West Indians, and people don't understand what that means and the kind of status that holds everywhere in the Americas. Right now I'm in Canada, and Indian status is the highest status in the land. You understand? Us as West Indian is West mean Western Hemisphere, geographically speaking, the Americas. And Indies mean Indian people. That is us specifically given to us as a title from first contact. You understand? Since 1962, Jamaica had incorporated and turned the country into Jamaica, called it Jamaica, and nationalized. And ever since then, we lose our status because we haven't been filling out paperwork as Indians. We've been filling it out as black and African American, when we don't have no connection to Africa, because we are the original Americans, the West Indians. You understand? And when I did my census here, the federal census here, they had a whole section for West Indian designation for you to fill out the paperwork. You understand? I'm talking about Statistics Canada.
But may,
Where
may I
you
ask you a
going
question, may I ask you a question, caller? Don't you
Yes,
think
King.
that Canada have their jurisdiction where we have to follow out certain things because of their laws and so forth, sir?
Canada is located on the American continent, my friend, which is Canada is one of the biggest, is the biggest country in North America.
I am aware
right?
of that, sir. What I'm saying
Yes.
to you, sir.
So the laws that apply in Canada to Canadians, the laws apply to Indians as well. And the laws specifically protect Indian people. One of the laws that protect Indian people in Canada is the law that states that Indians are exempt from taxation.
Let me ask you a question, sir. So based on all of that, sir, what you're saying to us now, that the laws in Jamaica need to change to incorporate the Indian laws?
Jamaica needs to, the people in Jamaica need to realize that we have Indian status. That we are, Indian only mean Aborigine, you know.
Okay. All right.
And we're filling out the paperwork as Jamaica, where Jamaica is not written in the law from the 1800s for protection.
Okay,
you see what I'm saying? It is Indian that is written in the law and is protected by law.
Okay, sir. Thank you for
We
calling.
are the only people that have the birth certificate, Indian, a West Indian birth certificate.
All right, sir. Thank you very much for your explanation, sir.
Yes, King.
Thank
So
you.
that is the awareness we got to come
Thank
to,
you very
you know?
much, sir. Yes. Thank you so
Yes,
much for calling.
correcting the status. Good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for calling in, sir. Thank you so much. We're going to... Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the Make We Talk program.
Just a minute of call. I'm not at home. I didn't call. When I reach home, I call. I'm going to go up one. Okay.
We're going to play a next video, then we're going to wrap up because I know we have been on it for a little while and we have other things to do. So we're going to play the next video. Based on what the lady just said earlier on, the lady who was preaching, she's saying to us that we don't have any say in our country when it comes on to certain things. And we want to talk to the people of the high up. They don't listen to us because we're beneath them. And they're above us. We're going to play the next video for all of us to watch and all of us to listen.
The following is a public service announcement.
The Diaspora Crime Intervention and Prevention Task Force and One Jamaica Legal Defense Foundation invite Jamaican patriots and friends in the tri-state area to the second staging of a call to action. Meet us on Friday, May 10th, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Jamaica's Consulate, located at 300 East 42nd Street, corner 2nd Avenue in Manhattan. That's a call to action for Jamaicans and friends of Jamaica who are seeking the best solutions for Jamaica. May 10th at 9 a.m. at the Jamaican Consulate at 42nd Street and 2nd Avenue. Listen to Reason with Radigan Saturdays at 3 p.m. on Reggae Global Radio and YouTube for updates.